Guys, in this training, I'm going to go through tracking calories, the biggest mistakes that everyone makes, how we're going to stop hidden calories stalling our progress. This is not about being obsessive. This is just about honesty and just awareness more than anything else. Because people don't do these things, people don't make these mistakes deliberately. Because at the end of the day, the caloric targets are set there to achieve a certain amount of weight loss or weight gain in a specific time frame. It's a calculation, and the quicker that we can stick to those caloric intakes, the quicker our progress will be. Just about getting an accurate representation of what's going on. Like if we're going to do it, why not do it properly? That's it. It just gives us a real predictable estimate of what's going on. And when we know what's going in terms of caloric intake, and then we have somewhat of a control on caloric expenditure as well, and then we see our progress on a week to week basis, we've got all the pieces of the puzzle. So we can start to make some projections on rates of progress and things like that. If we continue down this path, this is where we're going to be in X amount of months. Are we happy with that rate of progress? Do we want to accelerate that? Do we want to pull back a little bit? Like whatever it may be. When things are half-arsed, when we don't have all the data, just very hard to make any adjustments because it's kind of like flying blind. Now, the human reality and self-reported studies, the underreporting of calories is between about 20 to 30% on average. Even dietitians and controlled studies underreport by up to 250 calories per day. Even I'm guilty of it at times as well, or I have been, especially with retrospective tracking as well, like try to recall things at the end of the day type thing. And people don't do this deliberately. It's just you forget about the wee things, or you don't account for the wee cleaning up the kids' plates and a wee spoonful here and there, or you walk past the pantry and throw a wee handful of nuts in your mouth or whatever. It's like it just these things happen, but they all add up. Like if it goes in your mouth, it counts. It's as simple as that. If it goes in your mouth, it counts. By far and away, the biggest mistake that people make is probably oils. Okay, so a tablespoon of olive oil is 120 calories. If you've measured out a tablespoon of olive oil on a tablespoon, it's never the amount that you would pour in a pan. That's why I always say that a spray oil is going to be better. That's just one easy swap that you just don't even have to worry about it at all. One tablespoon is the equivalent to like 20 to 30 seconds spraying continuously with a bottle. Like you're never ever going to do that. And it's so easy. Like you could do 300 calories of olive oil without knowing, honestly. And if you were cooking a couple of meals per day, you could easily do that 2 or 3 times per day. And that's your calorie deficit. You know, if you're in a 500 calorie deficit for about half a kilo per week, um, quite easy to inhale that whole caloric deficit and olive oil. You know, no satiety benefits, nothing from it. So an easy swap. Use spray oil. Very simple. And if you're going to use a pour oil, just make sure you track it. You even get these things from Timu. You pour the normal oil into it, and it kind of makes a spray out of it. Even that has somewhat of a control on the amount of oil you use. That would be a good alternative. Sauces and spreads. There's a low calorie alternative for every kind of sauce that you could like, or there's something that you can swap to that you can easily save, 150, 200 calories pretty easily. And you can this coconut sriracha is my favorite. Like add a little bit of heat into a couple of your meals, even if it's something that's a little bit more plain or whatever. You just feel like it needs a little bit of something. Like this is easy as you go. Like these low cal things, Frank's hot sauce, the Tabasco chipotle, coconut sriracha, sugar free. There's a sugar free barbecue sauce. There's sugar free tomato sauce as well. Like all those types of things, or reduced sugar. Like there's always a lower calorie alternative. So just having an awareness around that, and even just a smart swap here again. Don't do anything different. Just swap the thing that you're using, and again, you'll easily save a couple of hundred calories. And then, like I said, nut butters and things like that as well. So instead of using a peanut butter, you could use this powdered PB2. Like if we're looking at a smart swap, that's 55 calories from 2 heaped tablespoons. I think you mix it with a little bit of water to get the consistency you're looking for. You can mix it with like unsweetened almond milk or whatever as well. And it does, there's a chocolate version of it as well, like a dark chocolate version. It's really nice. So again, like if you're going to use peanut butter, put it on the scales and take a tablespoon out of the jar and see how much it is and track it like that. And then at least you know every time I scoop peanut butter, I'm going to scoop it this way and I'm going to track it this way because that's the exact amount that it's using. Rather than just using a tablespoon to scoop it out, you've actually taken 2 tablespoons worth and you're only logging it as one. Like just whatever you're going to do, just be honest with yourself and accurate with yourself in terms of what you're tracking. Then that way, um, we know exactly what we're looking at. Because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're tracking everything and you're not seeing the progress in the manner that you should. And 20 to 30% of inaccuracy could be a 20 to 30% deficit. That's going to be what a deficit is for most people. Liquid calories, another easy one. Like, so a glass of wine is, when you log it in any kind of fitness app, be it MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, or otherwise, it's going to be 150 ml. That's what a glass of wine is, like a standard serving. That's often not what you'll pour yourself. That's not a house measure. That's not what you'll pour for yourself in the house. So whatever you're going to do, put it on the scales and pour it once. Just pour it once so you can see, all right, when I pour a glass of wine, geez, I'm actually pouring myself 250 mils. If that's what you're pouring yourself, happy days, that's fine. But just make sure you log it as that. Don't pour 250 and log it as 150, because you're only kidding yourself on. And it only stands in the way of your progress. That's the thing. Like, we're only cheating ourselves in this regard. So it's just about, and you don't have to measure and weigh it every single time. Do it once. I know you can buy those wine glasses that actually have the line on it that tells you where 150 mils are. Even things like that are dead easy as well. Same thing with liquid calories, full fat Cokes or full fat Pepsis or whatever, Pepsi Max, Coke Zero, these types of things, these sugar free, even the energy drinks, Monsters, Mothers, or whatever else they are, there's sugar free alternatives of them. Again, just save yourself some calories, very, very easy to do. And you're not changing the habit necessarily, you're just changing the thing that you pick up and consume, but it's very much the same. The wee bites and the wee tastes and all the wee bits for leftovers, that's something that a plate that you'd maybe be scooping into the bin for the kids, and then you just, that gets scooped into your mouth instead of scooped into the bin. Now, if there's a couple of things you can do, you can log flexible calories at the end of the day, so you can just keep, if your target's 2,000 calories per day, you log up to 1,800 calories, and you just leave 200 calories for flexible calories, just to allow for these couple of things, or you just log it, you know what I mean? Or else you set yourself a rule, which is something like, I don't eat if I'm standing up in the kitchen, I only eat when I'm sitting down. So you sit down and have your dinner. When you've stopped when dinner's finished, that's it, eating's over until, if you're going to have a snack after dinner or whatever, we're not eating whilst we're cleaning up and doing all those types of things. Because when people hit a plateau, what I say to them is, log every single thing that goes in your mouth for a week. We're not touching the calories, we're not doing anything. And quite often when people log every single thing, they go, geez, I was, a little meatball of the kids there, just kind of throw it in the mouth without even knowing. It happens. It happens to absolutely everyone. And like I said, I've made every single one of these mistakes, so I know exactly what it's like. But there's no getting away from it. Like I said, if it goes in your mouth, it counts. So the weekends can often be one that we kind of lose control over. So it's just about not undoing all our good progress during the week at the weekend. Now, if you're a person who likes to have more calories at the weekend, like, you just, at the end of the day, you've got more time, you're not working, so it's totally understandable. That's fine, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Just shape your diet to be, and you can eat less during the week. Then that's fine. Say your calorie target that you're trying to hit, again, we'll use that 2,000 calorie example. You're trying to hit 2,000 calories per day, but you like a wee bit more on the weekend. Well, sure, Monday to Friday, we're going to go 1,800 calories per day, and we're going to log 200 calories per day over the 5 days, which is an extra 1,000 calories. And then on Saturday and on Sunday, we've got 2,500 calories on both of those days to play with. So 5,000 calories over the weekend to play with. And it all comes out in the wash. That's how we do it. That's how we keep it structured. That's how we keep it aligned with where we're trying to get to. So that's an option for us there. Or else we just still have some kind of framework at the weekend. Usually our weekends will be different from our weekdays, but weekend to weekend will be somewhat consistent. So have a go-to for your breakfast, have something that you have for your lunch, and then if you go out for a dinner or whatever, or you go out for a lunch, like, have a couple of repeatable things that you have in there, or if it's snacks or whatever it may be, something that's pre-decided. But it's just about, honestly, structure and having something at the weekend. Now, when I say bank calories, we don't want to slash your calories. So if we were having 2,000 calories per day, and we go, right, I'm going to go 1,500 Monday to Friday, then I've banked 500 per day, and I've got an extra 2,500 for the weekend to have over the weekend. So now we're talking, was that 250 per day in terms of calories for the weekend? Sounds fantastic. Yeah, how much flexibility can I get in that amount, and that kind of weekend? That's not a great idea for a number of reasons. One, if you slash your calories, you're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel pretty not starved, but pretty restricted. So then that binge tendency goes up significantly. Your performance tanks, energy, mood, training, strength, everything will be in the gutter. So what's the point? There's no reason to do that. If we were going to do an aggressive diet plan, that's fine. But the training, the output, and everything else would be structured in a way that would support that. And I've done it myself. I've done the protein sparing modified fast on 1,300 calories per day. I've done that, but my training and everything else was structured in a way to facilitate that as well. So we just need to make sure that the training, the nutrition, everything is periodized and singing off the same hymn sheet. So just a quick recap on the things that we need to focus on over the next 7 days, for example, make sure we're tracking our oils, or use spray oils. Very easy. Again, sauces, spreads, things like that, we can use a smarter swap. And if we're going to use the full fat peanut butter or things like that, Biscoff, whatever it is, just make sure we're tracking it. That's it. Just even if you measure it once and then do the same thing consistently, it doesn't matter. As long as you measure it the same way and you use the same thing for scooping and you're consistent with it, then that's all good. Okay. Liquid calories, again, use a smart swap, so make sure we're tracking them. The little bites and tastes allow for flexible calories, or just create some rules around it, or make sure that you log that, and then have an anchor for your weekend. Have something, a safety blanket or a safety net that you can kind of tie yourself to. A breakfast that's aligned with where I'm trying to get to, and a dinner that's where I'm trying to get aligned with where I'm trying to get to, and then the couple of meals throughout the middle of the day. Then you can allow for a little bit more flexibility there, but don't just get to the weekend and think, oh, I can just do whatever I want, because it's only going to undermine your own hard work that you've put in Monday to Friday. Okay.